This is the new Audi A4, although, to be fair, you have to be a bit of an Audi aficionado to tell the differences over the old Audi A4, but I will point them out to you now. They are some new cool look lights. You've got a redesigned bumper and a reshaped grille. But other than that, it's pretty much business as usual for the exterior design, which means, well, it looks the business. And this is the sporty S-line model, which means you get some bigger wheels and some sporty side skirts. That's enough about the looks. Let's talk about the practicality. The first thing worth noting is that the rear doors, they're quite large, so it's easy to get into the back. And once you're in, as you can see, headroom is reasonable and legroom is very good. Obviously, like with all these executive cars, you do have a transmission tunnel, but the seat is quite large, so you could put a child there if you need to. You've got this fold-down armrest, which does include some cup holders, and if you need some more storage here in the back, well, there's a large side door bin. Another thing that's really practical is that this car comes with fold-down rear seats as standard, so if you need to carry longer items, you absolutely can. In fact, I carried a table in this car at the weekend, no problems at all, and I was able to do that because this aperture is nice and wide, whereas on some saloon cars, it can be quite small. And even with these seats back in place, the boot is a nice large size, and its square shape makes it very usable, as you'll see now when I put the seat back. Okay then, let's talk about practicality here in the front. Well, you have got some large side door bins for a big bottle. Schlurz, probably the least manly of all drinks. And there's various places down here. There's a cubby for your mobile phone, some cup holders there, and somewhere for your wallet in the centre console. In terms of the driving position, I really like Audi's driving positions. There's no offset steering wheel or pedals like in some of its competitors, and you do get height adjustment for the driver's seat. In terms of standard equipment, all cars come with Bluetooth for your mobile phone. You also get cruise control, which is handy for those long journeys at the motorway. And there's tri-zone climate control in case you, your partner and your children all have different operating temperatures. Now, you have to be aware of Audi's options list, but if you go for the SE Technic model, it pretty much has all you need. It has those aforementioned options, plus it adds in satellite navigation. You get parking sensors, which is a must in a long car such as this, and you also get something that I really like, which is leather interior, a must on an Audi. Audi, of course, gets its range of engines from the VW group, and on the whole, they're among the best in the business. And in this type of car, I always like to recommend a diesel. And if you're making the switch from petrol to diesel, you're probably going to find it easier to move into the A4 than some of its rivals, especially if you go for the 2-litre model, because its 2-litre 4-cylinder TDI diesel is just so smooth and so quiet that you can quite easily mistake it for a petrol engine. In fact, that's why Audi's had to fit it with a fuel guard, so you don't accidentally misfuel it. But to be fair, you probably won't be going to the fuel stations that often because it can do 61 miles per gallon. So then, what is the driving experience like? Well, as you'd imagine, on the whole, it's very good. The car corners well, there's plenty of confidence-inspiring grip, especially if you go for one of the Quattro all-wheel drive models. The brakes are very sharp as well. And if you're just cruising up and down the motorway, the well-insulated cabin means it's nice and relaxing to drive. It also helps that the gearboxes, whether you go for manual or automatic, they're all smooth. And when you're in town, the steering feels nice and light. However, that does bring me on to this car's downsides, and for this new model, Audi have given the A4 electric rather than hydraulic power-assisted steering, and it just feels a little bit rubbery when you're going at speed. And this means that on a back route such as this, the A4 isn't as much fun to drive as a rear-wheel drive BMW 3 Series. And even though Audi have altered the suspension on this car to make the ride more compliant, it's still not quite as smooth as a Mercedes C-Class. And be warned, if you go for one of the S-Line models with the lowered stiffened suspension and bigger wheels, when you go over a bumpy surface, it feels a little bit like a big giant has reached down from the sky, picked up the car and shaken it about. It really is that bad. Then there's the interior. Yes, it's good quality, storage is decent too, and it's by no means bland, but the cabin is pretty much exactly the same as in the old A4. Really, Audi could have done more with the revisions, such as get rid of the cheap plastic trim around the instruments. Finally, there's the price, because if you get too carried away with the Audi A4, it can work out very expensive. This 3-litre diesel, with a few options on it, £44,000. You don't even have wing mirrors which fold in automatically. You have to do it by hand, which is just outrageous considering the cost. But if you go for one of the entry-level 2-litre diesels, they are more reasonable. Plus, because they're very, very desirable, they'll hold their value well come resale time.